Hello, this is John Johnston from CornNation. This is my attempt at doing a year-end video. I'm out in the woods again. You might think, what the hell is wrong with this guy that he's out in the woods? You know, I've been working mostly at home since this pandemic started in March, and I have a fairly decent office. I tried to turn it into somewhat of a studio. You've seen that, and I'm really tired of being at home. I'm really tired of being in the house all the time, and I don't care if it's you know, it's 20 degrees out or whatever, 21 degrees out. It's nice to be outside, and Esther, my dog, is in the background, running around behind me, or beside me, or into me. Plus, you know, my rotten son, who attends the University of Minnesota, has been at home for months. And my wife is home for her Christmas break vacation, and I love them both dearly. And I really wanted to get the hell out of the house. Anyway, this is kind of like a year-end video, kind of a review. I actually made some notes. I usually make this stuff up as I go. And this is kind of an attempt to do kind of a year-end look back, not at everything, but some of the bigger points over the year. I have, in the past, I've written a kind of like a State of the Union, State of the Site message to my CornNation community, and this year I'm going to do videos from now on instead of just writing. So let's, you know, let's start at the beginning. I mean, the year really kind of started in March, the bucket of crap year that is 2020. You know, Nebraska baseball, Will Bolt didn't even get a play. Didn't get to do anything his first year as a coach, you know, which is a kind of a shame because I love college baseball. The College World Series, the Big Ten baseball tournament, both events that I planned on going to with a camera and didn't get to do. And I'm sure that you have plenty of things in your life that you missed out on and still don't get to do now that we're in the holidays. And for that reason, this year has been a real... Well, it's been terrible. It's been terrible all around for everybody, one way or another, even if you're pretending that it's a normal year. The volleyball team didn't get a play. I think the Final Four was supposed to be in Omaha, and they were a stacked team. They had a really good shot at winning a championship. And speaking of other stacked teams, Nebraska wrestling coach Mark Manning had the best wrestling team he's had possibly in the history of Nebraska wrestling, and they didn't get to compete. The Big Ten is by far way ahead of every other conference in wrestling, and they didn't get to do anything. And I'm hoping that they do this year because, again, Nebraska's wrestling team this year looks excellent, like they could do things, and they're going to get a shortened season, and we'll see what happens. You know, we didn't get a spring game. Our chance for Nebraskans to get together in the spring and at least pretend that it was kind of footballish or a gathering social event for everybody. And, you know, that was kind of sad. And then we get to football. I mean, we get summer, you know, we get pandemics and lockdowns, and we get told at the beginning we're going to do 2 weeks of lockdowns and flatten the curve. And then this turned into months and months of this fucking shit. You know, you can argue, you can be on the side that argues that we need to lock down everything, everybody needs to wear a mask, and all the bars and restaurants need to be closed and stuff like that. And you can be on the other side that argues that, you know, the bars and restaurants should open up because we're destroying small mom and pop businesses that are never going to come back. No matter how much money the government shits out to everybody, we've destroyed a large part of our economy, and it's not coming back. You can be on either side of that equation and honestly not be wrong. The problem is that we take one side of that equation, we make it our side of the equation, and then we're angry and pissed off and hate all the other people on the other side of the equation. And I honestly think that if you can't argue both sides of a point or of an argument, no matter how tense or how important you think it is, that if you can't see and argue both sides of it, you're really kind of a shithead. And I hate to be that blunt, but that's part of empathy and understanding other people's positions that are different than yours. So I wrote down football. Nebraska football, it certainly wasn't the season that we wanted. I think everybody wanted a normal season. And I also wrote down Big Ten leadership, and I think we'll cover that. I will cover that in some separate videos at a later date, because it's too big for just me making up stuff sitting in the woods. I think it's important that we put a stake in the ground, at least for me, so that 5 years from now I can look back on videos that I did and know how I felt about things at the time and how they happened and what I thought about, our lack of leadership in the Big Ten, amongst other things, like all across the nation in every position possible throughout the entire sphere of humanity. Football, we didn't get the season we wanted. I mean, we didn't get a start out. We didn't get a non-conference season. Big Ten canceled, and then they restarted with only conference games. And we started with Ohio State, a game that we all knew that we probably didn't stand much of a chance in, and we played pretty well for the first part of it. And then it went up. It was like this, and it was just, well, it was like the rest of the year. This is a roller coaster ride of hell, emotions up and down all around. You can choose to be angry about that, but my wife hates the phrase, "It is what it is." She just hates it, so I never say it. And I'm even out here in the woods. It's like she might hear me. So let's come up with a different phrase. It is what it was. How's that for creativity? Football, there's hope for the future. I don't think we're that far away from being a decent team. We have a lot of young players. We're seeing a lot of older guys choose to go to the draft right now and choose to transfer, which, boy, Northwestern's seen a whole gob of transfers. So if you sit there and say, well, Nebraska can't keep their players and stuff like that, you're really not paying attention to anybody else, which is understandable, because sometimes we look at other people's families, particularly those we married into, and we go, their family's crazy, they're pretty crazy people. And, we pay attention to the families that are close to us and how crazy we are without realizing that pretty much every family is crazy. They are. Every family out there is dysfunctional, and the ones that act like they're not are just acting, or they're a bunch of fucking liars. That's my position on family atmosphere and life, and prove me wrong. Maybe you have a really nice family. Leave it in the comments. Tell us how great your family is. My family's full of insane people. Not my kids. Well, actually, let's move on. All right. CornNation itself, the website I've been running now for 14 years. I want to say that I'm proud of my staff. We kept content moving, and we kept coming up with ideas, even when it wasn't, even when there was no sports. And we got really sick of doing podcast after podcast and talking about this damn coronavirus. And there's a dog coming, and I'm going to be in trouble for having my dog off a leash. One of the things I'm going to have to learn is editing, so I don't have to do these all in one take. And maybe it starts now with this one. I guess it's going to have to. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I'm proud of my CornNation staff that we kept everything going. That we kept all the content moving. That we actually kept a website running during this year that wasn't very easy for everybody, because everybody has real jobs. We don't do this for a living. And I'm really thankful for my CornNation staff, because they're like another part of my family, or another family, an adopted family, maybe a rescued family. Oh my God! What did ooh, that's kind of sick. Maybe they rescued me, and that's kind of the point. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I probably would be in dire straits because I don't get out much. And then the phone died right out there in the middle of nowhere. Never done that before. Phone is getting kind of old, so the battery's kind of crappy, and maybe we'll have to come up with a different method of making these videos from now on. It does give me a chance to show off my new pandemic wear that my family bought for me. I know you're jealous right now. You're going, wow, where can I get some of that fashion? And you're probably saying to yourself, that looks like pajamas. No, sir or madam, it is pandemic wear. Because I'm going to wear this all the time because it's comfortable. Well, not just this one. I mean, I have multiple sets because we're an incredibly wealthy family. So one of the hardest things that it's when we get back to normal, one of the hardest things for me to adjust to is going to be wearing pants. Because, you know, I wear pants sometimes. I wore pants walking out in the woods, and that didn't bother me too much. But having to wear pants every day, ugh. Anyway, back to the year-end thing. I was saying that I was proud of my staff, and I am. And I'm glad that they're a second family, third family, a rescued family, great family to me, and dysfunctional, thank God, because I wouldn't have it any other way. Our traffic was down horribly this year, but I think it's down for everybody. I've talked to some other people outside of SB Nation as well, and traffic was really bad. And we, at the beginning of this pandemic, we looked at it and said, this is a media killing event, this pandemic. And you've slowly seen newspapers die left and right and continue to die off. Media outlets, and people lose their jobs or get furloughed permanently. That's kind of sad. I hope that you would support the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star. It looks like they're probably going to merge into one at some point. But I hope you support them, otherwise you're going to be left with me. And while I like me most of the time, I don't think you really just want to be left with like me as your source for Husker News. That would not be good. Traffic's down, CornNation staff. I guess the only thing I left to say is this. I know this is the end of the year 2020. If you're looking at a date. But the year really isn't going to end on New Year's Eve. It's not. We're going to be in this for a while, and we need to accept that as reality. And if you accept that as reality, it's going to make it easier to continue through the next 6 to 8 months. And because I think it's going to be at least that long before any sense of normalcy returns. Maybe we'll get a basketball season, a volleyball season, a wrestling season, and you know, baseball. I love college baseball. I want to see how Will Bolt does as a coach. We get all that stuff, you know, it'll be a welcome distraction to the meaningless, shitty lives we're leading right now. And maybe I'll get the chance to get out with my camera and shoot some events. That would be nice. I wonder how the guys are doing, the photographers I used to be around. And I hope they're doing well. I hope you're doing well. And I guess I'll conclude with that. That I hope you're well. Make some comments on our videos. I hope to keep doing these, and I hope to get better at them. And it looks like I'm going to have to learn how to edit and maybe get some different equipment. And we'll see what happens in 2021. I plan to stay comfortable. Go Big Red, and Happy New Year's. This is John from CornNation, signing out.